Hey everyone, this is Scott from Forgot to Grow Up. Welcome to our Bad Boys for Life movie review. I just got back from seeing the latest Bad Boys movie, and I'm just going to be talking about my general thoughts. I'm going to be avoiding any spoilers as best I can. That being said, this story is another Bad Boys movie, and so the premise pretty much is the guys are investigating another thing. And so I was pretty excited for this just based off the trailers. I love the first two Bad Boys. They got a special spot in my heart because they came out, the first one came out before, when I was like 2, but I grew up with these movies, so I was pretty excited for this. I love the dynamic between Will Smith and Martin Lawrence and having them back, and they're being badder and older than ever, and I was super excited for this, and it did not let me down. I felt like going into this, like I said, I don't like to not have too many expectations, but I was at least excited for this. I was curious to see their dynamic, the two of these guys reunited, and just enjoy their dynamic like I did do in the first two movies. So that was the part I was most excited about, and the trailers made me feel like they still had that spark that those two have, that charisma that the two of them bring out in one another. And so I really was excited for it, and I got to it, and it did not let me down. The two of them still have that great relationship, but it's even more than that. It's grown, and I felt that one of the big things, my biggest takeaway from seeing this is that I felt that this was still a Bad Boys movie, but it is a more mature one, and that's the part I really like, is that they kind of, not, I don't want to say lean into, but they acknowledge in a sense the fact that they have come, it's been 25 years since the first one in a sense, and so it's nice to see that they still have these elements that make it Bad Boys, but they've also brought it into like with a more mature kind of attitude, I guess is the best way to kind of put it. Like that's what I feel about the whole movie, is that it's a more mature Bad Boys. It's still Bad Boys, but they're a little more mature because they're older, and so I really enjoyed this. And they've got a whole new team that they're working with in this one, so it's not just the two of them. They have had a little bit of team backup before, but this one they get a little bit more support, and particularly with some of the action scenes, which I really enjoy because it's, yes, these are two older or not, they're not that old, but they're older than they were before, and so seeing that they get a little backup from this younger team, who I had some reservations about. I'm always a little iffy about a new team, especially a new team of youngsters, but they did a great job. I thought they all kind of fit into the story, and none of them annoyed me in any way or I hated them. And then you got a little bit of a backstory for, well, at least one of them. So that was pretty interesting, or a fun element that I didn't think kind of took away from the story at all. I didn't think they weren't as heavily featured as I even thought. I was a little worried. That was one of the worries I had going into this, was that because they were showing this, I was like, is this one just a way of setting up for it? And it's not. This is still a Bad Boys movie. It's about Will Smith and Martin Lawrence's characters of Mike Lowry and Marcus, and why I always forget Marcus's last name. But yeah, so I was really excited, and like I said, this one did not let me down. I felt the story is great. I don't want to talk too much about it. Yes, I did kind of already say that they are investigating something again, but they're detectives, so that's not really giving too much away. But I felt the trailers, at least the trailers I saw, I don't always watch every clip released for it, but from the trailers I saw, they didn't give really any of the story away. So that was really exciting going into this, having my own kind of expectation of it being a certain thing, and then it being a kind of a different story or different motivations pushing the story forward, and then their investigation in a sense. So I really, really enjoyed the way this story took it, and kind of like I said, it still has that Bad Boys feel, but kind of a more mature kind of way of going about it in a sense. So like I really, really enjoyed this one. I thought it was really well done, and I can't not recommend it. I was going to recommend it anyways because I love Bad Boys, and I love Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, particularly when they're together on screen. And this one just still has that. That still has that element. But again, they're both older. Particularly Martin Lawrence's character has that. He's a little bit more the wiser one. He's always been a little bit more the wiser one in it, but in particular, it's his age in particular in this one. He's more cognizant of it than Will Smith's character of Mike Lowry. And so I felt it was just really, really great just seeing those two back together again, and through the action, and seeing how the writers of this were able to like bring it into that these two are still are bad boys, but they're older bad boys. So they even make a few jokes about the fact that they're not boys anymore. They are grown ass. They were already grown ass men, but they're old ass men now. Well, they're not even that old, but they're older ass men now. So I just I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was really great. It was fun, but it also had it had a great bit of seriousness, which is again that's part of the maturity I felt. Like the first two, they are kind of they're the way I always kind of think of it is they are very appealing to teenage boys because that's when I loved them in particular, and a lot of the things about them, the Michael Bay-ness of the first two, and this one I felt because I don't think Michael Bay wasn't entirely involved, from what I understand at least. That it's got a little bit more maturity on it, where it's like you still get some of those Michael Bay-esque nods from like I said, some of these elements that make it a Bad Boys movie, but also the acknowledgement of the fact that these two bad boys are now older men. So I thought this was really done. I loved the vibe, the story, the characters. All the new characters we got were really great. I can't complain about any of them, which is always a positive thing about new actors, or new characters in a story or a franchise we already have. And so I really enjoyed them all. None of them annoyed me in any way. And yeah, overall, I just thought it was really great. This is one of those movies I'm like, I want to watch it again already. I really enjoyed it. It was really brisk too. It was just at the 2 hour mark or just under the 2 hour mark, and so that was a refreshing thing. That it was very fast paced, but it also took its moments when it needed to. It had a lot more emotion in this one than I've had in the other ones. I felt the second one tries to generate some of those emotions a couple times, but this one does a great job with that, making me feel all the different emotions, all the emotions that Scott's capable of feeling. They did in this movie, from the highs and the lows. I thought they did a really great job, and this I think is one of the best. It probably might be the best of them. I don't like to necessarily rank movies in a trilogy, but this one I did really enjoy. Having just recently rewatched the first one, I'm going to be rewatching the second one as well. But this one I really enjoyed, and I'm excited to be rewatching it, rewatch it near in the future. I won't be going back to the theaters to do it just because. That's another thing. I gotta go see other movies in theaters before I ever go see this one again. But I will be excited when this comes out on DVD and digital and that stuff to pick it up. But yes, that's all my spoiler-free thoughts. I hope I remain spoiler-free throughout this. But on Bad Boys for Life, definitely go see it in theaters if you do like these types. If you did like the first two, and if you like Will Smith and Martin Lawrence dynamic, that's the stuff that brings you in. But if you also like a good action movie, a good story, good kind of mystery, I'm not going to say it's a complete mystery, but they are, detectives investigating something in this movie. So it does have that mystery and suspense element that do great in this one. But yes, that's all my thoughts. Go see it if you want, but I recommend going to see it. I don't think you'd be disappointed. But yes, that's all my thoughts. Thanks again for joining me today. Sure, subscribe to the channel if you already, and have a good one.